Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, that was exciting.
Everyone.
Happy New Year.
Welcome everybody. Yeah, Happy New Year. Although I know everybody's saying that it doesn't feel like that happy after everything that's gone on.
Well, that was to be expected. I mean, it's not happy. It's dreadful, but
Dreadful New Year.
dreadful New Year. Well,
no, only joking.
Not so much for us, but just for the NHS, things like that. People who are ill. Morning, Rachel.
Morning, Rachel. Lovely to see you or have you here. Hope you're doing well and you had a nice Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, morning, Rachel.
We are on a new streaming system.
Check us. Yeah,
called StreamYard, which hopefully looks a bit nicer for you guys and is a little bit more interesting to use and has a few more features than Zoom. So hope you like that. Very exciting. Oh, hi, Jess.
Morning.
Hi, Jess. Just been chatting to Jess on Messenger, so hi.
It's only 9:30 and you've been chatting to people already.
Not like physically chatting, online chatting, yeah.
I had a call. Go.
Carry on.
No, it's fine.
I was just going to say, how was your Christmas and New Year, Becky and Fem?
Yeah, it was good. It was obviously different. I'm not big on going mega out on New Year's Eve anyway. I always used to like a little family sort of few games and a few drinks at home. So it wasn't that different for me. But yeah, it was good, thank you. Yeah. You?
Yeah, good, thanks. Same, very quiet. Nice to see my husband's parents for the day, but sort of bittersweet because we won't see them for ages again now. But yeah, it was okay. Quite excited to be back to work really and starting to, I don't know, get all the Christmas decorations down and all of that.
I know, I can't wait to do that. I'm really bad. I don't like all the clutter.
I do that on the 28th.
You had Fem, you had a proper at-home Christmas, obviously forcibly.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
It was nice, but we normally go away for Christmas because I don't really like doing it very much. But it was nice to be at home. And we went to see some friends and had some actual indoor socializing, which was just amazing. That kept me going. Wow. That I was on a bit of a high after that for quite a few days.
Yeah,
I did miss that because we couldn't really do that because of family circumstances. So I do. Yeah. I don't know if my mummy's watching, but I do miss you, mummy. We've hardly seen you at all, like a day since February last year. But
crazy.
Yeah. Same here. I haven't seen my parents since August. Not going to happen anytime soon. I try to see if I can go to Holland to homeschool there, but I need 4 tests just for me to get there. Actually, now that it's a bit longer, maybe I can actually do it. Ooh, I'm going to think about that. Next week, Savvy says from Holland. Yay!
Yeah,
international.
Yeah. So there's 3. Obviously, usually with Savvy says there's 2 of us, but there's 3 of us on today because I have a little. There's actually 4 of us.
Yes, 3.5. Yeah,
3.5. A little potty training, self-isolating toddler is with me because one of his nursery ladies has got COVID, unfortunately.
I normally say when Fred is around, he normally steals the show. So
yeah. That's true. He'll be over in a minute. As long as he doesn't wee ever in front of everyone, we'll be all right.
Don't say the word.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to say it because it will happen. Anyway, sat on a towel, which she's already done it through this morning. Anyway, that's why there's 3 of us. So if I hop off, that's why. I'm not being rude, just because I'm having an emergency situation. And today we're talking about sales activity you can do in lockdown, which is kind of an ongoing topic since March, isn't it?
It just seemed to be,
yeah. So everyone who's watching, just pop in the comments what your situation is, whether you're working from home, probably, or perhaps furloughed, and how you're feeling about it and everything. I hope you're all right. It's taking people like different lengths of time to adjust to their situations, isn't it? I know that at the beginning of this week we had a team meeting. We were all a bit like, oh, this is so frustrating.
I've had a bit of a rough week. I wasn't good, was I, at the beginning of the week? I think I needed to regroup. It just kind of all overwhelms me all of a sudden, just with with work and homeschooling, and my situation is so much better than lots of other people's, but I think everybody's been a bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
But it impacts your work in quite a big way immediately. People have to take action straight away, so that you have to really adjust all of a sudden. Whereas for some of us, we can just kind of go, okay, and take a bit of time adjusting.
Yeah, that's true. Take a bit.
Morning, Lynette. Oh, morning, Lynette. Nice to see you. Morning, Jill. Hope you're both okay.
Morning.
Lovely to have you on. So, I think, Fem, were you going to kick us off?
Yeah, well, we before Christmas or in December, we did quite a lot on setting goals and planning and everything. So that's not really a sales activity, but it all ties in. And what we were thinking about this week is that if you did what we said, if you listened to us, so what we said before Christmas is when you're planning for 2021, make sure you have different scenarios. So you have one. What you're going to do if a lockdown happens, how does that affect your business? What will you do in case of a coming of the tiered system? And then what will you do in case of a vaccine? And here we're in a strange situation because we are in lockdown, but there is a possibility of us coming out of it quite soon if the vaccine if everything goes to plan and the government does what they say, which is usually unlikely, but we kind of have to keep our fingers crossed. Instead of kind of going, wow, what's happening? It's lockdown. Just to go back to what you've written down, what were your goals or what are your goals for 2021? And if you did do them for different scenarios, then go, okay, I am in lockdown. This is what I said I was going to do. So this is what I'm going to do. And that hopefully will help kind of keep you on track. And then if you are thinking about the vaccine scenario, because that might be coming soon, you could do a bit of planning ahead. And then if you're talking to clients, it could be about the period after lockdown. If you're on furlough, but Lynette says back on furlough, we have 2 people back full time, which was me back in July and August. So I feel that's fair. I've decided to do some more training this time as I decorated the house in lockdown.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great use of time.
Yeah, you have to keep busy. That's true. But I guess from a sale, what can you do in terms of sales? There's not much you can do when you're on furlough. That's just a completely different scenario. And then you have to think about other things that you can do to keep your brain active and not go crazy.
I think it's interesting that before, like you were saying, before in December when we were talking, we were saying what are the scenarios going to be, because we're really unsure about the future. We don't know whether we'll still be in tiers or in complete lockdown. And now we kind of know, or that we've spent a year not knowing what the next month will bring. But with the vaccine being rolled out, at least by June we'll be out. And I think more than likely earlier than that. So we kind of know we're in full lockdown. So what are our plans? And then we're going to be out. And what are our plans?
I mean, just from a really positive point of view, I've had quite a few conversations this week with clients who feel very positively about what's happening after. So I had a client, she has until Monday to cancel her event in May. And she's like, nope, we're going ahead with it. And I was literally in my office going, because that's the first kind of yes. That's the first kind of yes I've had, instead of go, oh no, we're postponing, or can you cancel this? It was like, no, we're going ahead with it. And I was like, woohoo.
And that sounds like a really strong, positive as well, not a wishy-washy one. Yeah.
And I said to her, I'm loving the positivity.
And even May well doesn't feel that far away. It's not like a September one. It's actually
it's really close, and more and more conversations are happening. So focusing on not just thinking it's lockdown, but really thinking now about what are the possibilities after lockdown, and start planning for that and get ready, I think.
So Jess has said, I'm very fortunate not to be furloughed this time around. However, I find this harder as I feel like I've made myself an expectation to perform. But it's difficult because no one is really around making decision on the middle months. We've had a fun sales day yesterday and converted a great deal for December. Yes. That's great. just painful for Q2 and
I guess the Q2 and Q3 is just going to be short lead, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I would imagine so.
Sorry. You're saying I want some water. I don't give December's great news though, Jess.
But that's safe as well. Well, more safe. People think, now I can book for November, December because that's such a long time ahead. But other bookings for Q2 and 3 will probably just come in a little bit more last minute when people go, okay, actually, this is what's happening. So now I can book a meeting for that month.
Yeah. It is a totally different type of event, but I had one of my clients ring me up asking me to help them with a social for a festival that's happening in September, and it's definitely going ahead. That's what they said to me, a little bit similar to your client. It's definitely happening. We want it to happen. So that's September, so that's like creeping up as well. So I do think right across the board is positive.
Yeah, so I think then the message really is to... Lynette says I had an inquiry for April and October.
Oh, you getting any advance on April? Yeah, September, May, April.
It just means that business is picking up. You can really see that everywhere. So I would recommend just picking up the phone and speaking to people.
Yeah, I think the main resounding advice that we've certainly been given over the last year is phoning all of your old clients and just having that client relationship conversation with them. How are you doing? Everybody feels so differently. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Hi, Fred. What do you think?
You said he wants a turn.
He wants a turn. Oh, bless him. That's so cute.
Got food all down him, so he's really not Zoom ready. Okay, do some drawing then. Sorry. Okay.
Staying in touch with people. It's all about those relationships more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that still is advice that I would give for the next month, like a couple of months, or this lockdown as well. And also, like Jess was saying, she feels like she's got an expectation to succeed or kind of get results. Like we sort of said in December as well, writing down what you want to achieve and making sure that they are realistic, and then little kind of achievements in amongst that to be able to get there, because you don't have to change the world. Nobody has to do great, wonderful things. You don't have to redecorate your entire house, even if it's not work related. But to be able to give yourself bite-sized achievements will make you feel so much better at the end of it. And then when you get the decision makers in, you can say, look at all this big scroll of stuff that I've done.
Yeah, and write down all the stuff that you do, and you forget all the stuff that you do. It's like a friend of mine, because I'm a big list maker, and I sometimes look at my list and think, oh God, like how many things have I actually done on my list? And she told me about a to-do list where you actually write down all the things you have done, even if they weren't on your list that day, and then look at it at the end of the day and think, actually, even though I haven't done all the things on my list, I've done a hell of a lot of good stuff today.
That's a really good idea.
So I liked that. Ta-da!
The other thing is, it's really, I've done an exercise this week where I've written down all of our plans for the next 1, 2, and 3 months, and it's amazing how much stuff you hold in your head of what you want to do, where you want to go, who you want to talk to. And when you write it down, it ended up being 6 pages. I was like, oh, I actually do have a business plan here. Not that I did before, but
I think for Jess as well, it's kind of in the wording. She said, I feel like I've made myself an expectation to perform. So I would be really careful there not to put too much pressure on yourself, and actually ask your manager or whoever you're working for what the expectations really are.
Yes, that's a good point.
Because otherwise you'll just be working yourself to the ground and making it really hard. Well, it's already difficult enough as it is. So don't put that pressure on. And we're all the same. We do that to ourselves because we really want to perform, and that's why we're successful, because we want to be we want to have results. But I would just be careful, especially in a lockdown situation, and really check what are my targets here.
That's very true. Your manager's expectations might not be as high as you think they are.
I'm sure they won't be, because
surely.
you might be putting more pressure on yourself than they are. So we've split up the kind of areas of what you can be doing into several sections. And first, can you hear Fred talking, or are you okay? Is it okay?
No, we only ever so slightly. We can hear you more. You're absolutely fine. Yeah.
Sorry. And the first section is admin, and this is quite obvious, I guess, really, but making sure that your CRM is up to date, making sure that all of those spreadsheets are up to date, okay, have some yellow then. Making sure having a bit of an analysis of what your incoming business from pre-COVID even looks like, and analysing the markets that bring you business, and are they still viable? Just having a bit of a kind of strategy admin brainstorming analysis day.
And almost updating your database, people's circumstances as well. They might not have the same position anymore, might they? They might be on furlough, or they might have moved job, or been made redundant, unfortunately, or that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I think it can be such a painful job to do. It can take so long, can't it? But it's actually going to be so useful for when things go back and all the team are back in and everything.
I was going to say that because you won't have time for it after things come back and people will start booking again. You won't have time to do any of that kind of database cleaning or updating or anything like that. And you want to be in as good a shape as possible, because that's not what you want to focus on. You want to focus on getting business in. So now is a really good time to do a bit of that. Although some people might say that they won't have time because they're the only ones working and the rest of the team are furloughed.
It's catch-22 sometimes, isn't it? Yeah.
And our next point was about prospecting, which we've done lots of in the last few months, which is cool. Taking the time to do all of that research and that prep of those of you who've been, unlimited colours, he just wants. Those of you who've come to our prospecting course will know that kind of researching stages that you can go through, although I'm sure lots of you have done it anyway. Basically researching all the new markets that are booking, using different tools and different areas to research. Don't just go to LinkedIn and Google. There's lots of different places that you can find some good information about what's going on in the market.
Well, a colleague of mine had a meeting booked for the lockdown period, and they're actually going ahead with it because they are within a valid business reason. I don't know the industry, but it would be good to find out which industries. So it's educational, definitely, but then there are other industries that can hold meetings because they're classified as valid. So if your hotel is open or venue is open anyway, not many of them are, but some of them are, to accommodate key workers, then you can actually have business meetings. And there won't be many, but it's interesting to know who they are.
Definitely, yeah. And also maybe can pharmaceutical companies do?
Well, I would imagine so. I would imagine if it's
But you can, and like you guys said when you did the prospecting challenge, you can look at sort of recruitment places, can't you? Like Indeed, see who's recruiting, and therefore you kind of like know who's doing well in terms of businesses and types of businesses.
Yeah, and again, if you're a venue, speak to agencies. If you're an agency, speak to venues. That all the other way around, so you can kind of gauge what's going on in the industry, really. Just make sure you have those conversations, and you feel connected to people, and it's always nice to chat about events, but also then you can see who is booking, where they're booking. Obviously not to steal that exact business, but just to get an idea of what's going on.
It's a very good point, actually. People feel like there's no business happening, so we can't chat, but you can still chat. That's so important.
I had an email from a large hotel chain person today and said, do you want to catch up? And I thought, actually, yes, I will, because then I can kind of see what's going on with them and what their feeling is about things. I think it's massively important.
Yeah, and it's mutually beneficial as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as well, things like the old networking and stuff that we all used to do as salespeople, a lot of them, or the majority of them, are still happening. It's just virtual. So I know that obviously if you're on furlough it's a different situation, but you can continue going to all of them and researching any other ones.
There are quite a lot of stuff around as well, like the Hoteliers Forum. If you're in hotels, there's like hospitality talks. There's all
lots
sorts
of new ones that have been born off the back of COVID and lockdown. Like, I mean, the delegate wranglers put out their packages, which they're now doing. So, thanks. So there's a lot of new opportunities that are industry bespoke. And I always found in hotels that I'd go to loads of networking, but unless they were niche to the industry, they weren't the best ones for getting business. So yeah, there are quite a few new ones. So even just researching what's the options are out there for that kind of networking collaboration opportunities. And you can still do virtual appointments, which may sound silly. I had a mentoring client recently who was like, oh gosh, I'm just waiting to speak to my clients till we go back to normal. I was like, just send them a Zoom link and just have a cup of tea with them.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we fill our days with Zoom meetings. It's quite tiring. But
I have 2 today with clients who are wanting to speak about booking events again, and another one next week. Definitely keeping up with your actual clients is so important. And if they don't have anything, that's fine, but you need to show that you're knowledgeable about their options of what they can and can't do, but also just keep in touch with them, so then that you'll be the first person they come back to when they do need you. And sometimes the gap feels horrible. I remember before Christmas, I sent all of my clients emails and none of them replied to me. And I was saying to my husband, it's like, oh God, they're just not interested anymore. They don't need me anymore. But then in the new year, which is always what happens really, they all replied. But sometimes it just feels like you're not speaking to people for ages because there's nothing to say. But just catching up is always a good idea.
Yeah, definitely standing out, because if none of your competitors are doing it and you're keeping in touch, then they're just going to come to you first as soon as things kick off again.
The next point is marketing, which obviously embodies social media, and looking at, like I mentioned before, as well as networking, looking at all the different marketing membership opportunities, of which there are lots of new ones at the moment. So just having kind of research and totting them up against each other.
And there is quite a lot you can do on social media, not just LinkedIn. So if you are a venue and you are not furloughed and you're in charge of the social media, there's still a lot you can be putting on there, because I think a lot of people think, what the hell do I post? But there's still so much stuff that you can put on. You can do throwbacks to previous events. You can do bits that the team are doing at home. What are they up to at home? What are their hobbies? That kind of thing. You can do like quizzes and polls and ask questions. What would you like us to offer in the bar? Which is your favourite drink? What dishes should we include? All that kind of stuff. There's still loads and loads of stuff that you can do on social from a B2C perspective, as well as LinkedIn for your own purposes.
It's a good idea to kind of think about when lockdown happened. And I went on LinkedIn, there were a lot of like not crazy, but a lot of messages that were people just going rah straight away. I think it's quite a good idea to sit back a little bit and go, okay, what am I going to do with my social media? And then post when you've properly thought about it, and kind of stand out from all the other messages out there. And if you're working in a venue, if you're working with other people, really kind of think of a strategy, and that you should have that. This is what we talked about before. Don't do the kind of shotgun approach to, I'm just going to post now because we're in lockdown. But think about, what do people really want to see? And again, about, coming out the other end in a few months' time, if that happens, is there anything that you can post that kind of encourages behavior to start booking again, or to start thinking about
completely
afterwards?
When I think about a lot of my not my clients, but mainly my clientele when it comes to social media, a lot of them during the last lockdown didn't do anything for 5 months, and then all of a sudden just switched it back on again, and surprise, it didn't really kind of just work just like that. There was I think if you are a venue and you want to look at some good best practices in terms of like sort of Facebook and Instagram. Rockcliffe Hall are great at that, and they did during the last lockdown. They did like an open, I think it was like an open week or an open month, I can't remember, but they had each manager of the department doing a walk around of their department and what they do and what it all means. And they so say if they did that for the restaurant, they did that with the restaurant manager, then they went into the kitchen, introduced the team in the kitchen, did a live, did a recipe, shared. They did like a whole week sort of based around that department, and then another one, and that was brilliant, and that really made them stand out from the crowd. So I think you could do.
Yeah, I think you need a mix of kind of personality. People love to see that kind of stuff, back offers, but also have what people are doing and make it more personal, because that people buy people.
That's a good name. That's a good name.
So I think so, and informative as well. Just are you adding value to what you're showing and not just going blah blah.
But it's funny you should say about sitting back. In terms of my own personal LinkedIn, that's what I did this week. I kind of obviously alluded at the beginning saying that I've not been in a great place this week. I could have I felt like ranting on there but I just thought, no, I'm not gonna do as much on LinkedIn this week. I'm just gonna take a step back. So I think we both had the same.
Yeah, it was such a weird combination of Happy New Year, and some people were really like, oh, Happy New Year, let's go 2021. And at the same time, we were going in lockdown. Everyone's like, what am I going to do with my kids?
Yeah,
it was a really strange week. So I stepped back a little bit as well, because I can't actually. I don't really know what to post at the moment, because I was feeling quite positive, but I knew not everyone was. So then some people had messages out there that were really positive, and I was like, well, what about those people who are not quite feeling like that at the moment? It's just, you have to hit the right note, and that was tricky this week, I think.
Well, I think we kind of like chatted about it, didn't we, in our team meeting, about the right time to be talking about certain things. And I think we kind of agreed almost, didn't we, that give people a week or two, because they need to regroup, they need to find themselves, decide, what they're doing, where they're at. And I think that's pretty sensible at the moment.
Yeah.
So what else did we talk about? Collaborations. So obviously lockdown collaborations. I mean, we are a lockdown collaboration, aren't we? Selling Savvy, basically, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people that you might be able to collaborate with. Maybe think about things for when you reopen as well, and stuff that you can do together, but work on now.
And also think about the people that you normally work with, either pre or post COVID lockdown, whatever. So if you're a venue and you work with AV suppliers, or you have a florist that comes into your hotel, then think about, what can we show about these people who are really who are servicing our venue normally, and kind of showcase that, and how does that work, and how often do they come in to refresh
and that's
things
something
like that.
I suggest people put on their social media as well. Their suppliers, talk about the suppliers, people that they work with.
It doesn't have to be a new collaboration. It doesn't have to be, let me think who I can collaborate with. Look at the people who are already in your vicinity. Caroline. Oh, hi, Caroline. Rockcliffe Hall have been brilliant.
Yeah. They are really good, Caroline, aren't they? I know I've mentioned them to you before. There's a couple of places, and they are excellent. Yeah.
So I think we're out of time.
Us, we could talk forever, but yes.
I could. So next week we have a little announcement to make. I have to make sure that I don't actually announce what we're announcing, but we are going to announce a new team member of Selling Savvy, and they will be joining us at Savvy Says at 9:30 on our Facebook page. So that's exciting. Hope to see you there.
It's not Fred.
It's not Fred, although we did a really good job. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Oh, just before we go, if I may, we have some more burst mentoring sessions. I think it's Tuesday the 19th of January. So we do 15-minute burst sessions, or blast sessions, as Amanda likes to call them, where you can come along with one burning question about sales or business to us, and we'll help you out as much as we can in those 15 minutes. So you can book on. Where can we put a link in on this fandangled new system, Kate? It's all right, me talking the talk. Kate, can't hear Kate, you're on mute. That's usually me that people say that to.
Oh, she's gone.
Sorry. Yes, I can put a link in. Excellent. Yeah, Tuesday the 19th, but you can book between 9 and 12. And we get through quite a lot in 15 minutes, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this is half an hour and we get through a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the link up. Anyway, we'll put the link in there soon.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. And did you mention next week? Did I,
yes, we did. Yeah.
Yes, I mentioned next week. Yeah.
We've got a few congratulations and exciting and comments as well.
Thank you, guys. Right, I've got the link now. Let me put it in here. If anyone wants to book on first, then please do, completely free of charge, like I said. And we'll see you soon.
Excellent. Lovely to see you. Bye. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Bye.